In a conference that was held at Grand Imperial Hotel in Kampala on the theme promoting interpreters and good leaders among journalists, Amos Mwesige said that media is a calling from God, hence explaining who a journalist is.
And since then, life has never been the same. So even as we come here, I want to say that this for me is a very golden opportunity. Like I told you, media is not an area you train in, but this one is a calling and a ministry.
Using a road pothole story as an example, Reverend Dr. Medard Bilungi tasked journalists to report fair stories about Uganda.
So I'd like to request you that you become balanced men and women. Although villagers are not educated, but they can also know that this is a lie and this is the truth. It doesn't matter whether you have a PhD and presented your thing. So I would like us to really be very good reporters. Secondly, how is your financial integrity?
While some journalists have engaged themselves in spreading false information, Reverend Dr. Medard has asked the government to award journalists who report rightful information.
I was very happy recently to read that the government is working to capture the art and entertainment, to support singers and dancers, but whose content is promoting development. And they have already made some musicians to put money into them so that when they sing something, it is something that will put more value to our country. That will balance the equation. As bad people are putting money into those who report badly, we as a government can also put money into those who are reporting goodly so that we can have a balance. As these people bring lies, there are others who are bringing the truth. And slowly by slowly, people will know this one is right, this one is wrong. So I'd like to invite
Chris Balyomunsi, the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, appreciated the government of NRM for allowing other media to operate than before in 1986, where we had only one television.
We had only one television called the Uganda Television, UTV. We had only one radio station called Radio Uganda. Now these have been replaced, UBC, the TV and the radio. We had few print media platforms. Of course, the digital and internet platforms were not there. So there was no media industry to speak of. But 30 or 40 years down the road, we now talk of over 300 radio stations in Uganda. We talk of over 40 TV stations, very many print media outlets, and the internet and the digital platforms are now abundantly available.
He also appreciated the great job journalists are doing in disseminating information to the nation and also placed emphasis on the way journalists are supposed to report news.
So fairness, being balanced, being accurate, being factual, being objective, all these are very important. So we need responsible journalism. We need a high level of professionalism. I can also add, we need a high level and sense of patriotism. And maybe speaking as a politician, we need a high level and a sense of non-partisanship. Because sometimes you get consumed in our partisan politics.
The minister also informed journalists on how it's hard to increase salaries since the country has no minimum wage.
So I want to thank you once again, you the media practitioners, for the good work that you are doing. This conference, this training, to me, is extremely important, that we need to stress the issue of integrity, the issue of ethics, and that is what is going to build the profession to be a very strong one. I know His Blessing, who mentioned it in her remark, that the pay for journalists in Uganda is not necessarily attractive, because this expansion I have talked about of the media space, that most of the media houses are owned and run by private individuals. Most of the radios, most of the TVs are owned by private individuals. Number two, we do not have a policy on minimum wage in Uganda, both for government but even for the private sector.
The minister further encouraged news reporters always to be calm in case they want to meet their obligations. Chris Bariomonsi is unhappy with digital media which reports false information and therefore asked journalists to be patriotic. Sarah Chirabo, Alan Gamol, live at 8.